Hi Siri, I'm looking for a new podcast, one that preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Matthews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Matthews has a show every weekday. I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning and welcome to a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. I want to thank James Bates, better known as Batesy, for our introduction today. Today's show we got lined up. We'll have JC here in just a second. And then we're going to have former Gator quarterback Kerwin Bell, head coach of Western Carolina, get his thoughts on year three heading into the Catamounts season. I believe they open up with the Arkansas Razorbacks, if I'm not mistaken. JC, you're on the Titan More Hotline. You're back. You made it.
Yes, thank you. It's good to be back. Yes, very nice to be with you this morning. Chicago was awesome.
You didn't have anybody trying to open an exit door during flight or have some crazy ass woman yelling on a plane.
No,
you see all these crazy things that people have to divert and go land somewhere else because the nonsense going on planes.
It's that time, it's that time of year. Summer's a very busy time. That's why this guy flies direct and chooses to drive to Jacksonville.
Well, that has nothing to do with you. Obviously, don't watch the news.
It's one less plane I have to get on.
But that has nothing to do with it. I'm asking the complete morons that are on planes today that open a damn door while the plane is flying. You haven't seen all that?
Yes, but that doesn't mean running into somebody like that diminish when you lower the number of flights. So I get it, but direct from Chicago to Jacksonville is such an easy trip. That area, Naperville, Chicago, I've been told has something like 500,000 people in it. It's the nicest suburb in Chicagoland and one of the nicest in America. And now I know why. I never heard of the place before I went there. But
would you rather play golf on a daily basis at White Eagle or Annandale Golf Club?
Well, I know a lot more people at Annandale, but I could get to know them at White Eagle, bro. And I'll tell you this, that White Eagle, there's nothing. So in the men's locker, you have 8 sections that are blocked off. Every section of lockers that are numbered 1 through 8 has its own shower facility, restrooms, everything. I mean, and its own attendant. It is the King's Guard up there, and I just think to myself, wow, this place is only open 7-8 months out of the year because 4 months out of the year you can't play golf. But it's everything you think it is. It's a great place. Very lucky to go up there with my friend Joe and Adam and Kevin. So a good time, and now we're back here and looking forward to the next one. But when you fly QB, you have a chance to look over things, and one of the things I looked over yesterday was something that was tweeted by Michael Bratton. And he goes by SEC Mike. And here's what he talked about when he mentioned the Florida Gators offensive line. You ready for this? Mm-hmm. Kingley Iguquan, 6'301. Austin Barber, 6'311. Cameron Waite, 6'8", 362. Jordan Herman, 6'8", 372. Keonta Goodwin, 6'8", 353. Damian George, 6'6", 369, and Mika Mazkua, 6'5", 329. Look, if any of these guys are any good and their feet move, I was going to run all over you. And that's just a fact.
What you're failing to mention, too.
Unbelievable to me. 3 guys, 6'8", 3.
That fits the mold of what everybody else is doing in the world. But here's what you're forgetting about, JC. We've been pretty big on the O-line. The front 7 on the other side of the ball has been the problem. That's where they're going to be most improved, and that's what's going to allow them to win 8 games, minimum.
Okay, all that's well and good. But when you run the ball and control it with those guys, you don't need
right. But have you not watched and heard me for the last 3.5 years talk about how poor our front 7 on defense has been? It wasn't even mid-major worthy. Cliff says on Facebook Live, love James Bates. You should try and get him on the podcast. He's been on Cliff probably 4 or 5 times in the last however long we've been doing this thing. So we'll get him on again, but you could scroll and I don't know how you look up who's on what, but Joseph says we'll finally look like an SEC offensive line. Yeah.
Oh.
We're gonna look like an SEC defense too, folks. That's what people are forgetting. JC, did you watch the Midsummer Classic last night?
No, I was driving back from Jacksonville, but I saw that the National League for the first time in 11 years finally won. Good for them. I mean, but 3-2, kind of a snore fest. The uniforms are unwatchable. I can't look at that. And I just didn't like it. I didn't like the uniforms. But 3-2 game. Look, the American League has clearly been the better league of the two for over a decade now. It's still the better league. But for the National League, that means that the National League champion this year will have the home field advantage for the first time in 11 years in the World Series. What do you think?
They still do that from the winter? I think they canceled that.
You do? When did they cancel that?
I thought they did because it's actually stupid when you think about it.
Well, I know, but when did they cancel it?
I thought they did it a couple of years ago because there was a big arguments going on. Why should you determine who the home team is in the World Series based on a stupid ass All-Star game?
Well, I get that, and it's true.
Yes, but, Chris says here his All-Star game does not affect home field anymore. Yeah.
When did that? I'm just asking when that changed. Anybody?
It's like a year, just like a year or two ago. All right, John says on Facebook Live here, JC's favorite Alabama quarterback was previewing the Florida-Utah game and said the Florida O-line won't be able to move the Utah D-line.
What? Why? I just told you why they will.
Well, are you a fan of Greg McElroy, JC?
Not really. No.
Okay. I like that's who said it. That's who
I
said it.
I kind of like the way he played in 2009 until he got to the championship game against Texas. Then he sucked. But he's just not my kind of. I don't know. As an analyst, when I listen to him talk, I feel like I'm listening.
He annoys the hell out of me.
I'm listening to a teacher in 7th grade tell me why I'm an idiot at geometry, which I already know. And he doesn't do it for me. I know he's a Bama guy, but is he really? Yeah, I guess so. But he did win a national championship. He did. Mark Ingram, Marcel Darius, Trent Richardson, they also won national championships on that team. But he was a quarterback.
Well, he's that Rhodes Scholar, so he sometimes tries to talk like he's smarter than everybody else.
Well, I just don't even.
He probably is, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, great. So he can take a standardized test better than me. But the fact is, I can still kill him in geography. But the point is that he's just I don't really agree with the things he says. I mean, some of the things he says as an analyst, that doesn't mean he's bad or good. It just means we don't agree.
Well, everybody has their opinions.
Right. Fine. But I don't like his. So therefore, he's not one of the guys I look forward to when I want to watch commentary. And yeah, he's a Bama guy. Yes, maybe. Yeah, but he's not my favorite. He was, and he wasn't that. He was. I know he was hurt in the national title game against Texas. I know he was hurt. But he's enough already. All
right. Titan our text.
Julio Jones didn't hurt. Having Julio Jones outside and those other guys running around kind of made it a little bit nice for old Gregory there. But I'm sorry. All
right. Titan our text on Robert. He says, I agree. The uniforms were terrible last night. Wish they would go back to wearing their standard uniforms. Yeah. I agree. Because, what was cool when you were a kid and you used to follow this with your baseball cards and all that nonsense, it was cool when they run out of the dugout and then you see like 3 Braves uniforms or a Montreal Expo uniform. Now I didn't have a problem with – I guess it was – I didn't like either one of them. One of them I could live with. But the one team that had like the navy blue jersey and the black pants, I don't know if that was the American or National, it was just – god awful. But that's people like you, JC, that would have been there at the All-Star game would go buy these silly jerseys.
You're wrong. I'm not buying any of that crap. That if they're trying to merchandise that, I don't think they're going to be that successful. To me, it's just it's dog and pony show. No, I wasn't really that interested in it.
All right. Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structures with unrivaled quality, silverback concrete. You stand on it, we stand by it. We're speaking with JC on the Titan More hotline. We're going to have Kerwin Bell. Get your questions ready for the catamounts. I know we got a lot of catamount boosters on this program that are. We're going to ask Coach Bell if he's under heat this year. Josh from Mississippi. I'm just teasing. He did a great job last year. Josh from Mississippi on the Titan MR text line says, QBJC, you hear this about Tim Tebow? Tebow is now the co-owner of an expansion team in the ECHL. The ECHL is the third tier of the U.S. hockey system below the NHL and the AHL. I had no idea. I've never even heard of the ECHL.
Couldn't tell you.
Is that the East Coast Hockey League?
East Coast Hockey League would make sense. Yeah. You got to put your money somewhere. He's got so much. Got to do something with it, QB.
Yeah. All right. We got Tommy in Savannah, Georgia.
You can call me
on the Titan MR text line. Says, "Good morning, guys. I don't know much about the Northwestern situation, but it seems to me there should be a ton of ex-players coming to the defense of Fitzgerald. Is that happening? I think some have, some haven't. I don't know what's going on there.
Hard for me to believe. It's just
Did you read it? Did you ever read it?
Well, I know it's about the hazing, and
yes, and like I told you, hazing goes on all the time. They're different. Like I've been around locker rooms since I was probably 5 years old. When I was running around locker rooms when I was a ball boy or whatever for my dad's team. So I've been in them from age 5 through age 36. Is one of the last time I was in a locker room as a player, but I've still been in locker rooms. I've never in all my years heard or seen anything that they said was going on. So I don't know what to believe. So
I just don't think he just doesn't seem to me, and I don't know the man, but it doesn't seem like he's that kind of guy that would be involved in that. And 17 years is a long time to run a football program, be successful at it, and then all of a sudden have something like this just destroy it. It's a disturbing story. I guess they had the goods on him though, QB. I mean, if you're fired,
well, here's the thing. He's probably going to. I mean, it's terrible for him because he's a really good football coach and done a lot for that school. He'll probably land somewhere else, but he's going to get his $40-something million because he's got a law firm that ain't going to lose.
So it wasn't with cause then. It just was immediate and out. That's strange.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what
you get fired with cause. Apparently, you're not getting money out of that. That's like
Well, I got a feeling. Well, put it this way: initially, he was being suspended for 2 weeks. Nothing else came out in the report, and then they fired him. So I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I just know that he supposedly has one of the top law firms in the world representing him. Reggie says on Facebook Live, will you be going live again from the bookstore pregame again this year? Yes, me and the Dean, Steve Russell, will be in the bookstore. So swing on by.
Where is the bookstore, QB? Where is that?
That would be in the Rights Union.
Oh, Rights Union. Gotcha. Okay.
All right, John has a question here. Do you think that the current coaches in the ACC, Big 12, and Pac-12 would be interested in Northwestern job given where college football is headed? No. I don't know. I mean, Northwestern is Vanderbilt. They've had a little more success than Vanderbilt.
A lot better.
Right. They've been better. But what I'm saying is, would a young up-and-coming coordinator take a job like that? Yes, because he's going to get a huge pay raise. He gets to run his own program. But you're not – I don't think you're going to see Pat Narduzzi go from Pitt to Northwestern or a guy like that. So it's going to be interesting. But what's crazy is, and I don't know if I was talking to you or Buddy yesterday about this. Okay, how do you promote within if all this stuff was true going on? Because the assistant coach, the tight end coach, he's no different than the head coach. You know what I'm saying? But you can't clean house because it's so close. I mean, they start practice here in a week or so. So
maybe ask Kerwin if anybody's calling him.
I will. I'll see if Kerwin's interested in the Northwestern job.
Go from one team to another, and I know he's dedicated to the Western Carolina, but it's a natural move from Western Carolina to Northwestern playing a Big Ten.
I would like to ask Kerwin, would you rather hang out there in the Are they in the big? They're in the SoCon or the Big South or something. I don't know what
Yeah.
conference that is.
Yeah.
Or would you rather go have to battle Ohio State and Penn State with a
Hey,
bunch of slow white dudes
listen, they
in
went
high
to
grass, slow
what?
players?
Listen, you can call all that. You can make fun of them all you want. They were in the Rose Bowl not long ago. They were in the
I know that. I know.
championship not long ago. They put it on some of these teams that we think are so good in that Big 16 conference. Listen, I think it's a great job for somebody coming from one of those Group of 5 conferences. It's a great job. Come on, they're going to have money. They'll do things to the program. They'll spend money there. I don't know. I mean, it's yeah.
Oh, Andy says Kerwin and them play Oklahoma again. I know they played them last year or 2 years ago. I didn't know they played them again. I got to pull that up. I could have sworn they play Arkansas this year. We're going to look that up.
You'll find out in about 15 minutes. But,
yeah, but a good host of a podcast would already know this.
Yes, you would. Good host, award-winning host.
Award-winning.
QB, listen, Kerwin called you up and said, hey, man, come be my OC up at North.
He already tried that.
No, I'm talking about Northwestern, not about not Western Carolina.
I have a number to be a college, and this is just an assistant, just a quarterback coach. I have a number, and I would not go below that number for nothing. Okay, for some reason.
How do you know they can't pay that number, QB? You give them a shot.
Well, and a stipulation is that I don't have to recruit. I don't have to deal with NIL. All I got to do is call plays.
Good luck then.
All right. So I'm trying to look here. For some reason, when I pull up Western Carolina, they open up with Arkansas Razorbacks.
Okay.
Then they play Sanford. Then they got Eastern Kentucky, Charleston Southern, Citadel, Chattanooga, Furman, Mercer, Wofford, East Tennessee State, and VMI. Maybe I'm missing something. Andy, are you looking at an old?
Well, that's 11. That's 11 games. You got one more. Just named 11 games.
Well, they're not going to play two big teams. I think their money game this year is at Arkansas. Reggie says, let's cross our fingers that Brian Hartline, the wide receiver coach at Ohio State, gets called to the NFL or another college team, and by the end of the season that Jeremiah Smith flips to the good guys. Yeah, he's a receiver that between us and them, he's committed. So we'll see. All right, JC, let's get to the Peachland Dental. Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. Go visit them at peachlanddental.com. We are now going over to Scotland for the Scottish Open. Is the British Open is next week, right? Or do they have a week off?
No, that is correct.
Quick before we get to that, Gene wants to know, what is the story behind JC's T-shirt? What does your T-shirt say?
The Bucket of Blood Saloon in Virginia City, Nevada. And I've been there multiple times. It's right outside of Reno. And the story is, in that saloon, it's one of the oldest in America, that the silver miners of neighboring towns would come there and gamble their deeds to their silver mines. If they lost, they would shoot themselves, and they would just simply put the blood and guts and head in a bucket and toss it over the cliff. And that's what happened. Very famous. So you lose all your money at the blackjack table and you blow your head off.
Sounds like a good time.
Well, listen.
All right, JC, you get first pick in the Scottish Open.
Yeah, Scottish Open, yes.
You didn't answer my question. Is the British Open next week or the following?
Yes, I did answer your question. I said yes. And, next week, this Royal Liverpool Golf Club, that is right there north of Wales.
All right, hang on just a second. I got to get to this question here.
Okay.
We're all over the place today. Sorry, folks. Bear with us. John says, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melon. Do you buy the line that Fitzgerald didn't know? I don't see how he couldn't know if it was on a whiteboard in the locker room, but ultimately Fitz is responsible for everything that happens. I agree with that. But again, like I said, if this has been going on for X amount of years and this hazing was actually happening, yes, he needs to be fired. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Like I told you, I've been in that damn locker room. I've never heard of any kind of hazing like this. And so we'll see. Mitch is tuned in from London, England. Go Gators.
All right, hit that train, Mitch. 4 hours to Liverpool, and you'll be at the Open next week to watch Rory win it. But yeah, I mean, Fitzgerald's not running the Sigma Alpha Epsilon house in the 80s here. Okay, that's not what we're doing. It's football in the 21st century. All right, so QB, yeah, the Genesis Scottish Open, the Renaissance Club, a very nice place.
No, that's where it was last year. The Renaissance Club. I'd played that one.
Very nice place. Listen, the thing is that this tournament is kind of gone up in stature here in the latest, in the last 4, 5, 6 years for sure. I'm going to take some Europeans in this tournament. I'm going to go start it off with the guy from Belgium, Nicholas Colsaerts. I like him off the European tour. Nicholas Colsaerts. He is your assistant Ryder Cup captain in the for the European.
So what's interesting is they play this. I guess they're now playing the Scottish Open at the same venue every year because they played at the Renaissance Club last year.
Yeah, I said it's moved up.
I think I told this story. I played the Renaissance Club with the Mannings years ago, like 2008 or 2007, right the day it opened. Yeah. So I guess they are. Okay, I'm going to take Terrell Hatton.
Yeah, it's obvious pick there. I like that. My next pick will be, and I really think this guy is ready to break loose and win again on tour. He's won once this year, but Matt Fitzpatrick from Britain, I think it's going to be very comfortable in those surroundings in the next 2 weeks. Either this week or next, you'll see him in the top 10.
All right, let me cross him out. He was my next pick. All right, so I'll take another Englishman. I'll give me Tommy Fleetwood, Fairway Jesus.
Yeah,
as they call him.
Fairway Jesus. I was looking at him hard. I'm going to take this guy that only plays, it seems, in Europe, but he could be a guy to watch, and that would be Thorbjorn Olesen.
Oh, Thorbjorn Olesen and not Bjorn.
Not
Thorbjorn Olesen. Okay.
And not yes. Thorbjorn. So I got.
All right. I'm going to take
Nicholas and the other
we're picking 4 players. I'm going to take Victor Hovland.
Oh, that's a good pick there. I like that. All right, I got to go with an American here. This guy has been hitting it straight, putting well, played great here in the last month and a half, and that would be one Brian Harman.
Oh, the little young lefty. You're taking a Georgia Bulldog, JC.
I know, but something about accuracy is important in these courses, and he drives it very straight. Very good player.
All right, I'm going to take another dude that grew up playing these courses. I'm taking Rosie, Justin Rose.
Yeah.
All right, so I have, for the Peachland Dental Scottish Open, I have Terrell Hatton, Justin Rose, Tommy Fleetwood, and Victor Hovland. I have no Americans on my roster. You have Nicholas Colsaerts. I don't know where he's from.
Colsaerts, Belgium.
Colsaerts, whatever. Same guy. Matthew Fitzpatrick from England. Thorbjorn Olesen. Where's he from?
Denmark.
And Brian Harman from Augusta, Georgia, wherever he's from.
Well, hey, this is the Scottish Open. You'll see the big names pop up on my list next week at Royal. I'm telling you right now, Rory's winning it next week. Just plan on that.
You think?
Well, he won there the last time they played it.
Well, that doesn't mean a damn thing.
It doesn't mean, but it does mean to me that he's been so close this year, so close winning. Was right there at the U.S. Open. Just couldn't putt it. I think he'll be more comfortable with a putter at Royal Liverpool. So that's next week. We'll talk about that next week. That's one of those tournaments where you get to record it in the morning and go do your thing during the day. And then when you're done playing golf or whatever you're doing on Saturday, going with your wife to Home Depot or something like that, you then come back and watch the recording. And
well, yes, but the problem is people text you and you happen to scroll on Twitter and you see who's 12 under par and it screws everything up.
I try not to do that, but you're correct about that. But if you're playing golf, just tell everybody you don't want to hear about the British Open. But just as the opposite was the case with the U.S. Open in California, we got to watch it up all night. This is getting up at 7 a.m. time and watching golf. I'm not wild about that idea. I'd rather record it and fast forward through the commercials, QB.
Reggie says he's taking Ricky Fowler. His swing's coming together. Yeah, Ricky's playing real well. Good to see him win. a few weeks ago. One of
Made a
the
lot of
fan
money.
favorites out there for sure.
He's made a lot of money this year. He's really supercharged his career. Got that win, and now he's got that exemption. He doesn't have to worry about anything for at least a couple of years now.
All right, real quick, Greg's got a football question, and it's regarding quarterbacks. He says, speaking of accuracy, does the fact that Lagway's accuracy in high school is 55% and only averages 7 yards of completion? I did not know that, Greg. That ain't great. Yeah, I mean, you can't, that's the thing about high school. I mean, you don't know the competition. You don't know what he has around him, any of that kind of stuff. But he's a highly regarded guy. We'll see when he gets here if he's the guy. I did see somebody sent me a picture. I'm sure you see it, JC, now on Twitter as we wait for Kerwin Bell. All these different damn rankings,
Yeah.
And they ranked the so-called starting quarterbacks in the SEC. They had Graham Mertz 14, which is just absolutely ridiculous. He'll be a middle of the pack guy. Trust me on this. He will be fine. I don't know why I was bringing that up, but
that is complete disrespect. It has no bearing whatsoever on how his career at Florida will go because of his career at Wisconsin being so drab. And granted, that coach they had at Wisconsin, that offensive system was as drab as it gets. But hopefully they'll open it up for the kid, let him run around, throw it, have a little bit more athleticism involved in what he can do. Hopefully, I don't know. I mean, 14th QB. I mean, that's dead last.
Yeah, it's dumb. It is so dumb. I'm telling you, man. I've watched this kid.
Yeah,
I watched him at Wisconsin, and his people want to look at stats. Okay, I get it. His stats are better than Peyton Thorne, the kid that transferred to Auburn from Michigan State, and they have him like 10th or something. It does not matter. This is a dude like JC who never watches tape, just watches recreational football, is making a list. JC, I really think you should start having a list and just put it on Twitter. You'll get 1 million followers. People will get do a quarterback or a running back list. Put somebody up there that ain't very good. You'll have 1 million people following you, arguing with you all day.
That's just how I want to spend my time. But but really, when you think about it, that list has him behind the Vanderbilt quarterback. I mean, he has him behind.
I mean, it's dumb. It's that they have no idea. I'm telling you, this guy, I've seen him throw. He's very accurate. He's gonna run the offense the way Billy wants it run.
Here's a question for you: would you rather have him with Billy or Joe Milton with that coach up there?
I think what's crazy is Joe Milton. People forget Joe Milton has been beaten out twice in his career to be a starting quarterback.
Hooker's pretty damn good. I mean, Hooker was really.
But my point is, he went to Michigan, got beat out there, transferred to Tennessee, started the year, got benched, and now everybody thinks he's going to be the damn next Johnny Unitas. I don't see it.
You don't think Josh Heupel has something for him?
No, I don't. I'm telling you right now, they're not going to win 9 games.
So they're going to have the same record as Florida, basically.
I think Florida's going to beat them here. I don't think Joe Milton is very good at all.
Okay. Hey,
I've said it since the first snap he took at Michigan.
Well,
and all right, JC, we got to take a break. We got to get to Kerwin.
Tell Coach I said hello. Go.
That's JC joining us on the Titan More hotline. Going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll be joined by Western Carolina head coach Kerwin Bell. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peaceland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Aver and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is head ball coach Steve Spurrier, and I'm here with my wife Jerry and our good friend Sherry Houston, the executive director of the Ronald McDonald House Charities of North Central Florida. We're thrilled to announce that the 2-year anniversary of our restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, is coming up on August 14th. Last year, we had so much fun celebrating with everybody that we're doing it bigger and better this year. We're hosting a special dinner and celebration that will include a chef's choice of premium buffet or your favorite Spurrier Gridiron Grill menu, including a filet mignon carving station, shrimp and grits, short rib risotto, wonderful seafood options, and many dessert options also.
Like my famous chocolate chip cookies.
Proceeds being donated to the local Ronald McDonald House.
Thrilled to once again partner with Coach Jerry and the Spurrier Gridiron team to raise funds for the Ronald McDonald House, benefiting families and children experiencing medical emergencies.
Spurrier's Gridiron Grill will be donating 11% of all of our money from food and 66% of drink sales to the Ronald McDonald House.
Go to spurriers.com right now and reserve a ticket before they sell out.
We'll have wonderful food, special guests, and a limited edition of the 2nd year anniversary collector's coins, as well as prizes like a dinner with me and Jerry. We couldn't have become one of the busiest and most successful restaurants in the Southeast without your support. So we want to celebrate with the most important people of our team, and that's you.
I want to celebrate with some of those cookies. Do you have any of those?
Sure do. Right here for you.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate, with premium brands like Visor's Rooftop, Bass Pro Shops, Dave & Buster's, Fat Tuesday, Starbucks, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, the hottest restaurant in Florida, in the heart of Gator Nation. That's Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Going to head to the Titan MR hotline now. We're joined by the head ball coach of the Catamounts of Western Carolina, the Throwing Mayo. And Coach Bell, how you doing, my man?
Shane, doing good, man. I'm excited. We're ready to go. We're going in our 3rd year. We've got 2 great classes that we've put here. About 40 or 50 Florida guys that we've brought in to this roster now, and we think we've got a team that's got a chance to go compete. We're getting on that ship heading toward the destination of a championship. Our motto is sort of championship or bust, and I think we're at that stage. It reminds me a lot, Shane, of 17 when we went 6-4, I believe it was. It's my 2nd year at Valdosta State. Brought in a lot of young kids, played them that year like we did last year. Played a lot of young freshmen and sophomores, and came back the next year and won the national championship. So what I really love is just up front. We're so much better on the offensive line. We probably I think we're top 20, top 15 offensive line in FCS going into this season. So and then defensive line, we've made a lot of big improvements. So that's what's got me so excited.
Kerwin, you open up this year. Obviously, it's a money grab for your program. You played Oklahoma. I don't know if that was in year 1 or year 2. You went out to Norman. You played the Arkansas Razorbacks. Have you obviously you've broken them down. We know how big and physical they are, but do you think they can have some problems with your offense?
Well, we'll see. They struggled defensively last year, and then they've got a new D coordinator who's coming in. This will be their first game there. Actually, new DC and OC. So, hey, they've got some good-looking players. They're physical. We've been watching their films and getting ready as we get ready for camp here and start installing some stuff. But we're gonna do some things I think is going to give them some troubles. Luckily, it'll be our first game, so we get a chance to catch them right off the bat. But, I think up front, what I like about it, I know that last year, my first year against Oklahoma, we couldn't match up front. Like I said, we were probably bottom 20 in the offensive line play, D-line play. And then I thought last year against Georgia Tech, we were in that game all the way up until the 3rd, 4th quarter. led that game the whole first half. So, and we were pretty well, playing it up front as good as we could, and played really well against those guys. Now this is a different beast. You're talking about SEC and Arkansas and how physical they are, but hopefully we can match up a little bit better than what we did like against Oklahoma two or 3 years ago, and we've got some really good skilled players that it's going to be exciting to see them guys play at that level.
Kerwin, this is a scheduling question from Andy, and I'm going to piggyback on it. He says, Kerwin, how will the expanded SEC impact your scheduling for future big name games? You understand the fans of Power 5 schools. They want us week in and week out. They want nothing but big time football. I try to explain to people how important, not only for the Power 5 school like Arkansas playing you guys this year, because, well, let's don't use you because I think you're going to compete with Arkansas. But, these kids at Western Carolina dreamed of playing in places like the SEC. They're going to roll into that game in Fayetteville, and they're going to be in a big time environment. That's cool to them. Don't you? I mean, your program cannot survive, or programs like yours need these big money games, correct?
Well, it will, and the one thing is when you start adding the more teams to the conferences now, and if they add the extra game like they're talking about within the conference now, they got one less game to play as a money game or a guaranteed game. So therefore, probably the dollars are going to go down, to tell you the truth, because, there's not going to be as many games out there. So you don't have the competition. So we're getting quite a good bit of money to go to Arkansas. So, where is that going to go now as far as the guarantees? Are they going to go down or up, or which will hurt us as far as our budget? But yeah, it has a lot for our budget. It helps our budget a lot. It helps us really for our whole athletic department, for all our sports. But, and then for, like you say, it's a game for our kids to sort of test themselves. They want to see what they can do against those, bigger schools, especially an SEC type opponent. So, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. But we're excited about playing. We love these games. The big thing for us, I think the big important thing for us this season, though, is going to be coming off that Arkansas game, getting back in here on Sunday, and hopefully not be too beat up as a football team, and have played well, hopefully. But then we've got to open our conference against Sanford, who was 11-1, I believe it was, during the season last year, and got to the third or fourth round of playoffs. So, we got to play them at home the next week. So opening our conference, because we want to win a championship here. That's what we're about, is being the first team here in Western Carolina to win a SoCon championship. We've had 2 number 1 classes since I've been here, recruiting classes. So we're stacking some good talent on top of each other, and we feel like we got a chance now. The guys are starting to really grow up and get older and mature, and we're really developing these guys. And a lot of guys are gaining 20, 30, 40 pounds. So we feel good about now hopefully being able to compete for a championship, and that's what we're looking to do. We want to play well against Arkansas, but we also understand that the next week we got to get ready to go play a conference opener against the best team in our conference.
Yeah, I had a text here on the Titan More text line from George. He wanted to know, Kerwin, who is the team you need to beat to win that championship? And it's usually Sanford and Furman, correct?
Well, Sanford got good last year. They've been a 6-5 team, in this conference, really, a 5-6, 6-5. They had a great quarterback last year that came in and played really well for them. But yeah, then Furman's always tough. Furman, and then Chattanooga is a team that, they were 15th in the country last year. We beat them the last game of the season. They were 15th in the country, playing no good as playoffs, and we knocked them out right there at the end. From going to the playoffs. So there was, Furman, Chattanooga, those teams are going to be really good football programs every year in and year out.
Rose Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Speaking with Western Carolina head football coach Kerwin Bell on the Titan tomorrow hotline. Kerwin, got a couple texts here. I'm going to kind of they're all about NIL and transfer portal. At your level, has it helped your program? And did you lose any of your good players to big time programs?
Well, we when we got here, our roster wasn't really good. So, the guys we lost really were guys that we were going in a different direction anyway. So, yeah, I told people in the last 3 years, we've probably lost 2 or 3 guys that we really wanted to keep out of maybe 30 something that's left. So, I think it's helped us because it opened up doors for us to go get other players that fit what we want and what we're looking for. We've turned over this roster in 2 years from 120 players. We probably turned over 90 new players this year out of the 120. So that's helped us really turn over our roster and get it where we want it to be. And yet, on the other hand, I tell you, it's getting to the point now though that we're getting this young talent. We're finding guys. Hey, we go find guys that are great late bloomers. Maybe they had a junior year okay. Maybe they played basketball, and all of a sudden they come out for football, or maybe they changed the position, or maybe all of a sudden they grew up. And we got a receiver and a running back that both could play FBS, and we probably we actually have done a great job keeping them out of the portal. They're freshmen. I mean, both of them are All-Americans last year's freshmen. So we, it's going to be interesting going forward as they can continue to develop in our system and put up these big numbers and going into their sophomore year, see where we're at with some of these guys. It's going to be interesting if we can hold them. And it's made your job as a head coach so much different. I used to be, Shane, how involved I was offensively with my systems everywhere I've been. And, during the off season, man, I was in meetings and we were trying to figure out, where we could get better. And, you let your strength coach sort of take over for your off-season workouts. That changes now. I'm so glad Cade has taken over offensively for me, and I have total confidence in what he's doing. And so it's made me now just be a head coach now. Now being a head coach means you got to be around your players. You got to be in the weight room every time they're out there. You got to show that you're interested, that that we're getting these guys better as players and developing them. Because if not, they're going to look other places. That's just how simple it is. So hopefully, through our relationships, the way we build relationships and the way we're we're teaching these kids how to develop as people and as players, as far as, gaining weight every year, having a goal for each and every one of them, making sure they hit that goal. They understand that they're getting to be, developing as a player as good as they could in any program that they went to. So, hopefully that'll keep us on the right track of keeping these guys, because we got I'm telling you, we got some really talented kids that can play at any level. It's just going to be a matter now of keeping those guys.
Let's talk quickly about your quarterback play. You being a quarterback coach and playing it yourself, and Cade, who now calls the plays, being a former quarterback. You got 2 guys, I think, that are battling for the starting job that have Gator family ties.
Yeah, we do. Cole Gonzalez, Billy's boy, is man. We brought him in here last year as a freshman, and we didn't know if he, didn't think he would play at all last year. But man, he came on late in camp and got in some games early and played well. I think against Georgia Tech, we got our quarterback hurt there when we were leading, and our starter got hurt. Cole got to get in some experience, and he just got better and better as the year went. What I love about Cole is that he is a tough customer now. He is, I think you have to have a quarterback that has that physical and mental toughness. And because when things are going bad, if you want to win a championship with that guy, I don't know how tough you was, Shane, but we won a championship there, so you must have been pretty tough. But, when you're trying to win a championship, most of the time you don't go through some tough customers, right? You don't be in some tough games, some tough battles. And I think your quarterback has to be tough where – the whole team, when it gets in some tough situations, they say, man, that guy's he's still competing. He still wants it. He's still going to get it done. And I think Cole's got that makeup. And so I'm excited. He's sort of our guy going in. We've told him, and he's proved that this spring got a lot better. I think we can win championships with him. He's a true sophomore. And then we've also brought Charlie Dean in, a veteran who went to Harvard and was a 2-year starter at Harvard. He's from Tampa. Everybody knows Charlie Dean. His dad played tight end in Florida. And, man, we're excited about him. He can really throw it, a really sharp guy, smart guy. And I think as he learns our system, he's going to be really ready to compete as we go into camp. So we feel really good. If Charlie can somehow beat out Cole, we're going to have a really good one. And if not, we know Cole's going to be a really good football player for us, and we think we can win a championship with him.
Yeah, you brought up something because people always talk to me, and I think you and I think the same way. The three things that I look for in a quarterback, Kerwin, and you tell me if I'm wrong, and maybe I'm leaving something out here, is one, decision making and processing the information. Two is the accuracy and anticipation. And the third is mental and physical toughness.
Toughness. That's right.
I didn't say anything in there about how fast and how far you can throw a football.
No, if you get a guy that can throw it 90, and he can run 4.4, well, my God, we got an All-American. We can go play, but you don't get them all the time. But let's don't put all those other things below those characteristics, because if you have those three, then by God, you can go win a lot of games, and you can be consistent, and you can put points on the board, and you can get a team that rallies around their guy because he is tough. Because to me, if you want to have a quarterback that can win championships, by God, your team better trust him, and they better believe in him, and they better play good for him and around him. And they do that I've seen that with Cole. When he started, man, it didn't matter if we were down or up or whatever, man. They believed in Cole. And you got to have that characteristic about you, I believe, if you're ever going to be a great quarterback. And I think a lot of that comes from being tough physically and mentally, and knowing, and the team understanding, man, this kid's they'll stay in the game for us. He'll keep us in the game. He'll find a way to win a game. And so I think he has that. I really like the way Charlie's handling himself right now. He's a pro, man. He's come in here this summer and learning and watching film all the time with Cade, and man, he's wanting it too. So it's going to be fun. And then we got two freshmen, Shane. I think one's South Carolina's all-time leading passers coming here. He's about 6'2", 214, 215, freshman. And we got a kid out of Miami that won the state championship at Northwestern, which is a 7A school. Won it as a freshman. Started as a freshman. He started 4 years down there. I think he's all-time leading passer in Florida history, or right there with everybody else. His name's Tiger. So Tiger is, man, he's got some really natural. We just got him in here last week as a freshman, and we think he's going to be special. It's still taking him a while to learn everything, but he's got a lot of ability.
This is a good question. John says, how much do you value the QB's character and leadership, and how do you evaluate that? You can kind of tell when you watch them on tape and you're around them when the other players feed off those players, right, Kerwin?
Yeah, when you see a team that rallies around a guy, and a guy just shows the toughness in the pocket, or he'll take off and he needs that first down and he'll go get it, and he's not scared of it at all at that moment. That sort of gives you an indication. But I tell you what, Shane, that's why you miss a little bit sometimes, because you don't get to see a lot of games live. High school, you try to get as much as you can, especially at quarterback. I do, but then when you get them here, people react different, and you hope that they have those qualities, and sometimes they show it, sometimes they're able to show it at this level, sometimes they can't. But the ones that show it, then you say, man, I've got something. And so, you said the three things. This kid's accurate. He can throw a football down the field, and he's very accurate, but he's tough. But his decision making still got to come a little ways. We're working on that still, but I think he's got some of the qualities that you're looking for, and you're hoping when you get him on campus that those qualities, sort of come to the top.
All right, last thing for you, and I know you're busy building your football program, but you kind of took over the same situation that Billy Napier did here at Florida. They said that he took over maybe one of the worst SEC rosters of all time. What have you seen? Obviously, they're doing really well in recruiting for 2024. They're like number 1, 2, or 3, depending on where you look. Just your thoughts on Coach Napier. Do you know him at all? Had any run-ins with him?
No, I really don't. I might have met him one time when he was at Clemson, but other than that, hadn't been around him. But, man, I like what he's doing. I think the one thing is that when you're at Florida, it's not just given to you now. When you become the head coach, don't mean you don't take over Florida, but I think you have to. If you want to win and be a program of stature and a program that can compete year in and year out, you better start dominating the state of Florida. And that takes time. You don't just step in and say, man, all the people start coming to you. Those guys in Florida, because I've dealt with them all my career, those high school coaches, they want your trust. They want to gain your trust, and and they want to, gain your respect, and you've got to give it to them, and you've got to make sure that you are recruiting their guys and that they understand and that you're going to take care of those guys. And it seems like Billy's starting to really get in that and have some effect there with those high school coaches down there. That's what's made my career, is that those guys trust me, man. Everywhere I've been, Valdosta State, Jacksonville, now up here in the Carolinas, man, they'll send their kids to me. And that's why we had the 2 number 1 classes in the SoCons, because it's Florida kids. And so, but I've had to gain their trust, and a lot of it's been because I was around that area for a long time, and I've known those guys or known some of their relatives or whatever, but and we've dealt with them a lot, and we've always taken care of their kids. And so he's got to continue that line. I mean, you can recruit guys from other parts and other states, that's fine, but by God, you better open up a pipeline to Florida if you want to be great for years and build a program that's going to last. There's too much talent down there that you got to make sure that you get your chances to go in and get the best every year. So I think that's the deal, but it's funny when you build a program, Shane. I say there's 3 things. I've been doing it, and I've it's been good for me. Is the first, man, you gotta improve your roster. You got to go. And that's one thing I'm really good at, man. I know talent, and I know what I want. I've got a conviction of the kind of player I want, and I'm going to go get that player. And we're going to recruit talent on talent. I believe you got to stack talent on your roster to be great, because you want those guys competing with themselves. A tight end competing with another tight end. You got to put 2 or 3 really great players there to make them great. So they have to compete for that job. Conversely, you got to make sure defensively and offensively you try to get those 2 working together, where they have to bust their butt and practice every day to win, and make sure you're making it competitive. But as you stack that roster on both sides of the ball and each position, now you're starting to create competition. You're starting to create greatness. And, I think we've done that. We've got our roster so much better, and I think Billy's starting to do that at Florida. The second phase, Shane, and I thought we got, is you're going to go through it, and I call it the championship DNA. You got to go through some tough losses. You got to go through some tough moments in your program. You just need to make sure as a head coach you have a conviction of how you want your program ran, because when you go through those tough moments, it's got to come out the other side. And to do that, you got to be the leader of that ship and make sure it gets there. I told our team, we got blew out by Mercer last year. In fact, I told the head coach, Shane, after the game, I said, man, let's play another quarter. Our team could take another quarter of those beatings just to get us in that championship DNA mentality. Because you got to go through tough times. You got to play some good teams that says, man, this is how you're supposed to play the game. And because when you turn over a roster so much, Shane, what happens is you get a bunch of individuals, right? Which is natural. They're all new. They hadn't played with each other. And all of a sudden now you've got to get to that second phase of building a program, which I've got the talented kids. Now we've got to play as a team instead of a bunch of individuals. And what's got me so excited, because every time I've watched my program, you get to that stage where you got the talent now. Now you've got to go through these tough times and these tough moments to develop that DNA, championship DNA. And our moment, I thought, was last year. We were sitting here, man, 3-5, Shane. Just lost to Citadel. Citadel, who wasn't a very good football team. And all of a sudden, we had 3 games left. We won the last 3, played as a team, played in some tough games. Like I said, played Chattanooga, who was 15th team in the country, and beat them the last game of the season with a freshman quarterback, freshman tailback, freshman receiver. And our team never wavered. It didn't matter if we were up or down or where we were at in those games. You could tell we started to develop that team mentality, that DNA you need. And so when you get to that point, now's the time I think you can start preaching championships. But Billy, I think, still at that phase now. He's getting that talent in. He's now got him, get them to work together and start developing that team mentality and that DNA. And once you get there, and then you've got the program that you want. But like I say, for sustainability and to keep it where it wants to be, you got to take over Florida recruiting, and that's just going and making sure those high school guys believe in what you're doing. And I think Billy's doing a good job of that.
Yeah. Well, Coach Bell, we look forward to.
That's a long answer, Shane.
That was a very long answer, but very well said. And we look forward to the Catamounts this year. We'll be following you for sure. And I appreciate your time, Coach.
All right, man. Appreciate it. We'll see y'all.
All right. That's the great Kerwin Bell. Join us on the Titan Lamar hotline. And we appreciate his time today. And we'll also appreciate JC joining us on the Titan Lamar hotline. Hope you enjoyed today's program. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Take care.